and I'm going to go over the poetry portfolio directions and quiz. So kind of just follow along as you go through this video. So what is a poetry portfolio? So this is going to be a digital display of your poetry. You guys are going to share just very much like you did with the short stories. I'm going to be putting all these portfolios on a website. You're going to be looking at different portfolios. And so this is just an opportunity to share what you've learned about poetry and your poems that you've created, as well as any like art pieces that are in connection with your poetry. So I'll be grading this based on these categories down here. So you'll need a cover page and a table of contents. You're going to have 5 of original poems. You're going to have to explain your inspiration behind at least 2 of those poems. And then you have to have art paired with at least 2 of those poems. So I'm not saying you have to have poetry explanations for all of them or art for all of them. You just still have to have it for at least 2. 2 have to have art pieces and 2 have to have poetry explanations. I am going to grade you on requirements and use of time, and then spelling and grammar. I'm going to explain this in the next few slides, like what each of these mean. So your cover page and table of contents, this is just your title page. It has your name. It has like the, it says poetry portfolio, and it just tells me what can be found on each slide. I'm going to show you an example as we go further into this video. This portion of the assignment will be worth 10 points. So 5 of your original poems, this is 50 points of your project. So each poem is going to be worth 10 points. So these poems need to be original, meaning they are your work. You need to make sure that they are, basically all the poetry that you've created so far. Pick of the 5 that you're most proud of. If you don't like any of the ones you've created so far, you can create new ones. I would like them to be different from each other, so don't want to have like 5 haikus. You can have up to 2 of the same kind, but try to be different in which ones that you pick to do. You will have to pair art with at least 2 of your poems and explain that art, so it's just enhancing your poetry. So I will show you an example in this presentation of what I mean by that. And that's going to be worth 10 points too. So 2, poetry explanation. So you'll have to explain the meaning or inspiration behind at least 2 of your poems, and this will be worth 10 points. And again, I'm going to show you an example of that. Requirements and use of time. Of course, I'm going to grade you on whether you follow directions and how much time you used. Meaning does it look like it was rushed, or does it look like you put a lot of effort into it? So that's just naturally what I always will have on the rubric, requirements and use of time. So that's 10 points. And then spelling and grammar, use spell check. Use use the opportunities to have people review your assignment or students to review your assignments. It will help. Make sure that you're not just rushing through it and not making it look as decent as possible. Okay, and then this is an example of a table of contents. So if you see up here the title, my poetry portfolio, and then it has my name, and then I just put what you're going to find on each of the slides. So slide 1, slide 2, slide 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So with your poetry portfolio, like your table of contents page, you'll have a total of 9 slides. So you will see that in the project, but this is an example of what I meant by table of contents and cover page. So a poetry example, I just wrote out a haiku about my cat. So it's Stevia, curious and sweet, her beautiful green eyes, green white eyes, a sweet cuddly friend. So this isn't a haiku, and I just wrote that one because it was pretty short, but that's a poetry example. And I did that because in order to show you examples of the art and the poetry explanation, I needed a poem, so that's why I did that real fast. So this is an example of an art and explanation for one of the poetry. So what I did is I put pictures of my cat. I did a cat background, kind of a collage of different pictures. I put a picture of Stevia because that's how she got her name, from the sweetener. And then I put on this, the side, I just explained what did my art mean and how does it connect to my poem. Since this poem is about my cat, I included pictures of her in my art piece for my poem. I also included some pictures of her favorite things and a picture of where she got her name. So this is an example of art, an art slide that would connect to the poem that I wrote. Now the next one shows an example of an poem explanation. So remember, you have to have this for at least 2 of your poems. So I wrote Stevia explanation, and I wrote the poem Stevia about my cat. She's adorably sweet, which is why I named after her after sweetener called Stevia. I chose to write a haiku, which seemed like a good way to express her features. I really like the style of haikus. They're short and sweet. They often can express a lot in a small amount of words, which I appreciate as an introvert. I'm a total cat person, so I could not write at least one poem about. I couldn't not write at least one poem about them. So I explained what my inspiration behind the poem was. I explained why I chose that style of poem, and then I just wrote why overall I chose to write that poem. So you, for at least 2 of your poems, need to have one of these slides and one of these slides. So after you've gone through this, you're going to take a quiz on the directions. So you're going to go into present and press tap here, and it's going to open up a quiz in the next in another tab. This is how you're getting your points for this assignment. So you're going to take this quiz and turn it in, and once you do that, it's going to score it. Whatever score you get out of 30 is the amount of points you're getting on this assignment, but you may take it more than once. So just take that into consideration. If you get a low score, you can take it again. Then you're going to do page 6 in your notebook, and then that's it. So you're just going to hit turn in, and yeah. So if you have any other questions, just message me or ask me in a Google Meet. But yeah, thanks for listening.